Shalom, Shalom and welcome. This is From Four Corners, a series of messages to those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Creator and Father, Yahuah, to those who have come to accept Yahusha as Messiah, as our Mashiach. It is a message to you who I consider my brothers and sisters. My name is Symmanayah. If you're tuning in for the first time, today is June 16, 2014. We have arrived at end times, my brothers and sisters, and scriptures foretell of a time where we will be gathered from the four corners of the earth. I am compelled to believe that will come to be, and that we have entered into a refining stage to prepare those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 and multitude, who will be gathered from the four corners to a place appointed by the Most High Father. With that said, this segment of From Four Corners is entitled Attitudes and Forgiveness. Attitudes and Forgiveness. My brothers and sisters, allow me to begin with describing the definition of the word attitude. It is the way you think and feel about someone or something. It is a feeling or a way of thinking that affects a person's behavior. It is a way of thinking and behaving that people regard as unfriendly, rude, etc. Let's take a look at the following scriptures. Matthew 10th chapter, verses 34 through 37 reads as follows. Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to bring division, a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Moving to Matthew 24th chapter, verse 6 through 12. Matthew 24th chapter, verse 6 through 12. And you should begin to hear of fighting and reports of fighting. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and reign against reign, and there shall be scarcities of food, and deadly diseases, and earthquake in places. And all these are the beginning of birth pains. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many shall stumble, and they shall deliver up one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise up and lead many astray. And because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold. And Luke 21:16 and 17 reads, And you shall also be betrayed by parents and brothers and relatives and friends. And some of you shall be put to death, and you shall be hated by all because of my name. Take a moment, my brothers and sisters. Ponder, pray on the scriptures that I just read. Just from these passages alone, do you believe attitudes will rise up? It will be wise to begin coming to the reality that we will have difference of opinion. Yes, attitudes will rise up. When people are fighting, attitudes are present. When people are battling over food, attitudes will rise up. In the midst of division, causing people to be separated, attitudes will fly up. My brothers and sisters, in the midst of differences, we will see, as conditions intense during these end times, we will see many attitudes flare up. Attitudes flaring up for people who don't agree with the same interpretation of Scripture or what it is that we are to do. All too often, how we are raised, whether it be specific demographics such as our race, education level, economic and financial positions, household traits, and many other influences, tend to shape how we receive or reject things that are brought to us. It is said that when two or more come together, they go through a process in which some businesses or academic circles call forming, storming, norming, performing. I believe this holds true in many cases. It is described when two or more people come together, they attempt to establish a degree of authority over one another or establish their own identity. In their attempt to establish position, they face conflict or even possibly argue among one another. Individuals committed to building a relationship and working together for a same or specific subject or task eventually will calm down and begin to identify with one another's needs while they begin to work at forging plans at moving forward. Once this occurs, the individuals or the group begin to realistically establish agreed upon goals and objectives on how to manage any task at hand, specifically the one which brought them together in the first place. My brothers and sisters, we will discover attitudes flare up. For in end times, as we are gathered, there will be differences of opinion, there will be behaviors, there will be teachings and practices that some disagree, that some will be even angered at. Attitudes will flare up, and I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, the need to address forgiveness will be close and needed in order for us to press forward. We will discover during end times we will not have a lot of time to be arguing or carrying attitudes and holding grudges with one another. The time will come where we will learn how to demonstrate forgiveness and press beyond the fault, the stumble, the fall. End time will soon bring about a sense of urgency, and we will discover less and less time to spend arguing and debating one another. It will be wise to begin practicing forgiveness as we face things that put us at risk of having our attitudes flare up. There are scriptures that inform us how anger is acceptable, but it also instructs us not to sin in our anger. If we begin to truly prepare ourselves for the challenges ahead, we just might be able to manage our attitudes with a dose of forgiveness readily nearby. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, in order for us to witness a final exodus, there are details beyond most of our imaginations that will come to be. I believe with all my mind, body, and soul that the enemy will attempt to succeed in some cases with causing our attitudes to distract us, which will lead to some missing out and even in some cases left behind. It is important, my brothers and sisters, that we do not allow our attitudes to distract us from what the Spirit of Yahusha is saying to us, through us one towards another, through his chosen leaders or through his sent messengers. Will there be things that will upset us? Indeed, there will. Issues regarding when to move, how to move, where to go, who gets to travel along with us, what resources to take, how much more will it take for us to realize that we will be tested. Our temperament will be put to the test as we make decisions, hard decisions, the tough choices as end times become intense. In addition to those, we will find extreme challenges as it relates to finding food and fresh water, as well as a safe passage, or as we gather together from one point to the next, a safe place to rest our heads as we proceed towards that final exodus. We will experience sadness regarding those who will be killed or who will die along the way. We will miss those who we love, who will be left behind. Yes, there will be some left behind. I've witnessed mores, teachers, and individuals try to comfort people saying everybody will be saved and taken in this final exodus from a physical perspective. This is erroneous and a false sense of security. There will be martyrs. There will be those who will die. There will be those who will be disciplined. There will be those who will be left behind. Yes, in the end, my brothers and sisters, the Most High knows the heart and the mind. In the end, upon the return of our Mashiach, we will then know who all are indeed saved. But as it relates to this final exodus, not everyone will participate. My brothers and sisters, soon and very soon, we will learn the importance of preparing and seeking to manage our attitude towards one another. We will discover the power of forgiveness like never before. Never before have we imagined the power of forgiveness like we are about to experience. The days of holding grudges against one another will come to an end among those who will participate in the final exodus. The days of refusing to demonstrate forgiveness in the wake or shadows of one betraying us or causing harm will find a new meaning. Though we will not forget, we will come to know how to demonstrate forgiveness and press forward. I invite you to begin having conversations with one another about the things that causes your attitude to rise up. In some cultures, in some areas, we use the word pet peeve. Like, what is it that gets under our skin or that causes us to be upset readily or cause our attitudes to flare up? Let's begin to discuss these things. Things that are described that upset a person and sometimes cause our attitude to flare up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we can better manage our attitudes, our anger. During these end times, as conditions become intense, we will begin to learn how to exercise forgiveness and move beyond the very thing that cause our attitudes to flare up. Yes, my brothers and sisters, it's going to be a lot of resentment. It's going to be a lot of anger. It's going to be a lot of attitudes, a lot of emotions flying. In desperation, there will be chaos in the wake of extreme drought, famine, pestilence, and disease. Try asking a brother or sister questions regarding what really triggers their state of mind as it relates to having an attitude towards anything. Try also discussing ways and means for managing attitudes, with forgiveness playing a key role in such endeavors. Let us begin to prepare and manage our earthen vessels such that our attitudes are placed in check, that we are sensitive to the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha and move beyond such attitudes. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. There will be many who will experience attitudes rising like never before due to severe end-time conditions. Yes, end-time conditions will bring out the attitudes in people. But I submit to you, it will be an extreme humbling time for those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father. Many may not be aware that forgiveness can sometimes be the fuel or tool necessary to move forward beyond the emotional jam, so to speak. Forgiveness just might be the tool for getting on the boat in time for the final exodus, if this is the case. Forgiveness just might be necessary for two or more to come together along the journey until reaching those who will be among the mass exodus. We have taken forgiveness for granted. We have stirred the coals of anger and allowed ourselves to be overtaken with attitudes for far too long, my brothers and sisters. End times are here. Soon we will come to realize how little time we have to get our act together, so to speak. The matter of managing our attitudes and exercising forgiveness is something that will make a big difference as we prepare for this final journey. Until such time as we approach our final exodus, I pray our eyes and ears are open with clarity. I pray that each of us begin to realize this is something that must be discussed. This is something that we must learn to manage and overcome, and that is having attitudes. I pray each and every one of us are able to endure to the end. I pray, my brothers and sisters, that we seek continually to discern and understand what is necessary, what is expected of us for this final exodus, for these final days until the return of our Mashiach. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, stay tuned as this series from Four Corners continues. Shalom, shalom, shalom.